June 2016. A woman in a red gown commands a sold-out arena, promising that her invention will destroy Bitcoin and change the world. Within months, Dr. Russia Ignatova collects $4 billion and then vanishes into thin air, becoming the most wanted woman on the planet. Authorities search every continent. Billions remain missing. Was this the boldest cryptocurrency scam ever, or something even darker? The answer begins with how she made the world believe a lie. June 6, 2016. The doors of Wembley Arena open to a surge of thousands. Spotlights sweep across the crowd, amplifying every cheer and outstretched arm. On center stage, Dr. Russia Ignatova steps into the glare, wrapped in a red ball gown that catches every flash of light. She pauses, soaking in the roar, then lifts the microphone. Her voice cuts through the frenzy. One coin, she declares, will be the Bitcoin killer. The promise is simple. Overnight wealth, financial revolution, a chance for ordinary people to leapfrog the banks and join the new elite. No jargon, no technical barriers. Just a ticket to the future, sold from a stage that looks more like a pop concert than a financial seminar. Pyrotechnics fire as she speaks. The screen behind her flashes graphics of coins, charts, and headlines. She does not talk about code or cryptography. She talks about dreams, about freedom from the old system, about joining her on the winning side of history. The crowd, estimated at more than 4,000, is electric. Cell phones light up as people record her every word. Some have traveled from across Europe, even Africa and Asia, to witness the woman who claims she can make them rich. The air is thick with hope, excitement, and the scent of possibility. For many, this is more than an investment pitch. It is a coronation. Dr. Ruha is not just selling a product. She is selling herself as a visionary, a savior who understands what it feels like to be left behind and holds the map to a better life. Beneath the spectacle, a machine is already at work. The event is less about OneCoin's technology than about building a movement, one fueled by charisma and the hunger for change. In that moment, under Wembley's lights, the line between reality and illusion blurs. The world is ready to believe. Dr. Russia Ignatova did not build her following on spectacle alone. She arrived on the global stage with a resume that demanded attention. Born in Bulgaria and raised in Germany, she earned a doctorate in European private law from the University of Constance in 2005. Her academic credentials were real. Her dissertation, written in German legalese, was catalogued in university archives. She spoke fluently about regulation, risk, and the promise of new technology, weaving legal jargon into stories of opportunity. Her time at McKinsey & Company, one of the world's most respected consulting firms, added another layer of credibility. Records confirm her tenure in their Eastern European office. She presented herself as a strategist who had advised banks and blue-chip companies, someone who understood the financial system from the inside. In interviews and on stage, she wore her doctor title like armor, correcting anyone who left it out. But Russia did not just trade on credentials. She crafted a message that resonated with those who felt locked out of traditional finance. She spoke about empowerment, especially for women and people from countries overlooked by the banking elite. At every event, she promised access to wealth and knowledge, offering OneCoin as a passport to a new world. Her pitch was always more than technical. She told audiences that if the experts doubted her, it was because they feared disruption. She pointed to her academic degrees and consulting background, as proof that she could see what others missed. For many, her story was irresistible. The combination of Oxford lectures, McKinsey slides, and a personal tale of overcoming barriers made her seem like the rare leader who could bridge the gap between ordinary people and extraordinary wealth. No one asked to see the code. They saw the certificates, the business suits, and the confidence. The absence of transparency was hidden behind a wall of diplomas and a voice that made impossible promises sound like common sense. Behind the curtain of OneCoin's global spectacle, the technology was nothing but a facade. While real cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin rely on a decentralized blockchain, a public ledger that anyone can inspect and no one can alter, OneCoin's claimed blockchain was a simple SQL database. Every transaction, every balance, every so-called mining operation existed only as entries in a system that Ruja Ignatova's team could edit at will. Court exhibits from the US Southern District of New York reveal the truth. OneCoin servers held tables labeled user balances and coin price history, all controlled by administrators with full editing powers. There was no cryptographic proof, no network of independent validators, no immutable record. Instead, prices and token supplies were set manually, sometimes with SQL commands as basic as an update command that set a price to 12.50. Those were decisions made in back offices, not by market forces. Expert testimony from digital forensics firms like Chainalysis confirmed that nearly 90% of all so-called transactions were nothing more than internal adjustments. There was no public ledger, no way for investors to verify their holdings. The mining process was simulated, with coins appearing in accounts after batch updates, not through any computation or competition. Investors bought expensive educational packages and received tokens that could never be traded outside the OneCoin platform. This structure made recruitment essential. New money was the only thing propping up the illusion, since the tokens themselves had no value, no liquidity, and no technological foundation. The entire $4 billion empire rested on a database. It could be rewritten with a single keystroke. The promise of OneCoin reached deep into neighborhoods, churches, and family circles. Recruiters, many ordinary people themselves, fanned out across continents with glossy brochures and the hope of a better life. The commission ladder dangled rewards for every new sign-up, pushing friends to recruit friends, pastors to pitch to congregations, and parents to urge their children to buy in. In rural Uganda, entire communities gathered in church halls where OneCoin was presented as a blessing. Some mortgaged their homes, convinced that a small sacrifice now would lead to security for generations. When the payouts failed to arrive, families lost everything. Stories surfaced of homes repossessed, children pulled from school, and savings wiped out in a matter of months. The fallout was not limited to the poor. In Europe, recruiters who once flashed luxury cars and boasted of six-figure commissions found themselves unable to pay their own bills. Some had borrowed heavily to buy higher-tier packages, trusting the system would reward their faith. As withdrawals froze and the truth became harder to ignore, the sense of betrayal cut deep. Marriages ended. Lifelong friendships collapsed under the weight of lost money and shattered trust. Victims spoke of sleepless nights, depression, and the shame of having convinced others to join. Behind every statistic, $4 billion gone, millions affected, are people who believed in a future that never arrived. Their voices echo through court transcripts and news interviews, reminders that the real cost of OneCoin was measured not just in dollars, but in hope. Court filings from the United States Southern District of New York lay out the architecture of the fraud in black and white. The indictment against Dr. Ruja Ignatova, unsealed in February 2018, details wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. The FBI Most Wanted poster now offers a $5 million reward and lists her as the only woman among the agency's top fugitives. The BBC podcast, The Missing Crypto Queen, cross-references her flight records, confirming her disappearance from Sofia to Athens on October 25, 2017. Leaked property deeds from the United Kingdom Land Registry tie Ignatova to a £13.5 million penthouse in London's Kensington, purchased through a Guernsey shell company in 2016. Dubai property records exposed in the Dubai. Unlocked leak show her as the beneficial owner of a Palm Jumeirah apartment bought in April 2015 using Oceana Properties Limited. Bank compliance emails entered as exhibits in the United States versus Scott trial document, €20 million in wire transfers flagged for suspicious source of funds. Money traced back to OneCoin investor deposits. Expert testimony from Chainalysis, presented in court, confirms that OneCoin's so-called blockchain was just a central SQL database. Screenshots from the seized servers reveal tables labeled user balances and coin price history, all editable by administrators. Forensic reports filed with the court show that 90% of transactions were internal adjustments, not real trades. Each of these documents, the indictments, property records, bank emails, and forensic exhibits, forms a paper trail that strips away the illusion. The evidence is not a rumor or a theory. It is signed, stamped, and filed in public record. On the morning of October 25, 2017, Ruja Ignatova arrived at Sofia Airport with a small entourage and a bag packed for escape. She boarded a Ryanair flight bound for Athens, leaving behind her brother, her closest business partners, and the entire OneCoin empire. Court records and FBI case files confirm this was her last verified public appearance. The timing was no accident. Just days earlier, a sealed indictment in the United States charged Ignatova with wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. She had been tipped off that investigators were closing in. Instead of showing up for a scheduled speech in Lisbon, she disappeared into the slipstream of international travel. While the world searched for answers, her money was already on the move. Property records from the UK Land Registry show that in 2016, Ignatova used a Guernsey-based shell company to purchase a penthouse at number 11 Abbott's House in London's exclusive Kensington district. The price was £13.5 million, paid in full. The apartment was filled with contemporary art and designer furnishings, a fortress in the heart of the city. A second, smaller apartment in the same building was registered to another Guernsey shell, reportedly for her bodyguards. Both properties were later sold, with proceeds frozen in Guernsey bank accounts by order of a UK court in 2024, one of the few tangible victories for victims hoping for restitution. The paper trail stretches further east. In April 2015, Ignatova established Oceana Properties Limited in Dubai, using it to acquire a high-rise apartment on Palm Jumeirah for roughly €2.5 million. Leaked Dubai property records and investigative reporting confirm her as the beneficial owner. Dubai's reputation for financial privacy and lack of extradition treaties made it a favored destination for those seeking to hide assets beyond the reach of Western regulators. Associates and co-conspirators like Sebastian Greenwood and Kari Walrus acquired their own Dubai villas and apartments, funded with OneCoin proceeds. Some of these properties were liquidated after Ignatova vanished, but the full extent of her holdings remains unclear. Bank compliance emails, later entered as evidence in United States court, document wire transfers of 20 million euros flagged for suspicious origins. Legal advisors and trust companies in Guernsey and London helped obscure the source of funds, passing Know Your Customer checks despite mounting regulatory warnings. The movement of cash was so vast and so rapid that, according to testimony in the United States versus Scott trial, millions had to be physically stored in apartments and safe houses to avoid detection. As law enforcement agencies in Europe and the United States scrambled to catch up, Ignatova's name was added to the FBI 10 Most Wanted Fugitives list. She remains the only woman on that list, with a $5 million reward offered for information leading to her arrest. Investigators traced the money across continents, freezing assets where they could, but the woman at the center of it all had vanished. The chase was no longer just about justice. It was about finding someone who had mastered the art of disappearing, powered by billions in stolen wealth. Rumors and speculation swirl wherever Ruja Ignatova's name surfaces, but her fate remains tangled in a web of competing theories. With no confirmed sightings since October 2017, investigators and journalists have pieced together two starkly different possibilities. One built on whispers of reinvention, and the other on the shadowy violence of organized crime. The first theory suggests she is alive, hidden behind layers of wealth, false identities, and perhaps even a new face. Intelligence dossiers and private investigator reports have traced the outline of a woman living under the radar, protected by both money and silence. Unverified tips have placed her in Dubai's luxury towers, aboard private yachts off the Mediterranean coast, and slipping through European cities with expertly forged passports. Each lead dissolves under scrutiny, with no biometric matches, no authentic travel records, and no photographs that can stand up to forensic analysis. Yet the scale of her stolen fortune, billions of dollars moved through shell companies, art, and property, would make it possible to buy anonymity and to pay for the kind of surgical alterations that erase a person from facial recognition systems. Dubai's reputation for financial secrecy and its lack of extradition agreements with much of the West only fuel these suspicions. Still, not a single credible law enforcement agency has confirmed a sighting. Officially, the FBI continues to hunt for her as a living fugitive, with a $5 million reward on the line. The second theory is darker, rooted in a leaked Bulgarian police document that surfaced in late 2019. According to this report, Ruja Ignatova was murdered in November 2018 on a yacht anchored in the Ionian Sea. The document claims the order came from a powerful Bulgarian drug lord, once her protector, who saw her as a liability as law enforcement pressure mounted. The account alleges her body was dismembered and thrown overboard, leaving no trace for authorities to find. Journalists who obtained the leaked note that it lacks corroboration from any independent or official source. No maritime records, no eyewitnesses, and no forensic evidence have surfaced to confirm the story. Bulgarian and European police have not publicly acknowledged the file, and the FBI reward remains active, suggesting that American authorities do not consider her confirmed dead. Even among those closest to the case, opinions are divided, and some investigators treat the murder theory as a smokescreen, a rumor planted to end the search. every new tip, every supposed sighting, is weighed against the reality that Ruja Ignatova, once the face of a global financial fantasy, may have vanished so completely that only legends remain. The truth is that no one outside her inner circle knows what happened after Athens. Whether she walks free in a city that guards her secrets or lies at the bottom of the sea, the world is left with questions, not answers. Today, billions of dollars in stolen funds remain hidden, while Ruja Ignatova's name still sits atop the FBI most wanted list. As cryptocurrency fraud surges worldwide, over $3.8 billion were stolen in 2022 alone. The line between promise and deception gets thinner. The real danger is not just vanishing criminals, but how easily trust can be weaponized. In a world chasing quick fortunes, vigilance is the last safe currency. Share your thoughts below.